Oh. Okay, fab. So I'm very excited today to bring to you our guest expert of the week, Dina Berhman, who is a PR superstar. And I've been in Dina's group for quite a while now. I'm kind of like a quiet one in there. I just pop in occasionally and have a look what's going on. But I always love the stuff that you've got going on in there. It's really, really cool. So do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Dina and I'm a business fame coach. So I'm basically a publicity coach. I work with female entrepreneurs, so mostly coaches and consultants and people in service-based businesses, and I help them get their businesses seen and heard in the media. So, I have clients getting featured in newspapers, magazines, TV, radio, podcasts, blogs. So it's all about getting their businesses out there and getting more eyes on their business, raising their profile and that kind of thing.
Awesome. Okay, so how did you get started in your business then? How long have you been working for yourself?
So I've been doing it for the past few years. I started out actually as a journalist, which is something that I had always, I always loved writing and being creative. And I used to write stuff for the university newspaper. So yeah, I started out working on a local newspaper. And then I began freelancing for a few different national magazines. So I would actually go and do shifts in-house on the magazines. And then I had a couple of staff jobs. And then I got a job as a commissioning editor for the Sunday Mirror magazine. And so at that point I was looking after the real life sections. They used to do a lot of celeb stuff, and then they used to do a lot of real life stuff, which is with like the normal people, the non-celebrities. So every week I would be sent hundreds of press releases and pitches from people wanting to get coverage. And it would be from people wanting to promote their business or their organization or their charity or, whatever it was that they were promoting. So we only had slots for 2 features every week. So it was my job to go through all of those pitches and press releases and pick out the 2 that were the most newsworthy, that were going to make the best features. So I became really good at knowing what made a good story and being able to spot a good headline and being able to recognize a good pitch and a good press release. So after I left that job, I was there for a couple of years. I then went freelance full time. So at that point I was working from home. I was writing for lots of different places. So I got published in places like The Guardian and The Telegraph, The Mail on Sunday, loads of different magazines, Woman, Best, Bella, all of this sort of popular kind of weekly women's magazines. And the way that I was doing that is that I was writing pitches and I was sending them in to editors. And if they liked what I was pitching as a feature, then they would commission me and I would get to write the feature. So because I've had that experience of working on kind of both sides of the fence, I've got a really good understanding of how the media works and how to actually get published and get featured. So when I started up my business, I knew that I had a really good level of insider knowledge that I could share with other business owners to help them get their businesses featured. And so that's what I do now. I work with female entrepreneurs and I do one-to-one coaching. I have group programs and I help people learn really how the media works and then how they can get their business featured so that they can get really great publicity for themselves.
Yeah, that's so cool because it's hard, isn't it, if you don't understand the behind the scenes type of thing of what journalists are looking for and what works as a feature. And, it's really powerful to have that understanding. So I'm probably completely wrong on this, but I always think of like journalists as being quite a glamorous kind of job. Was it glamorous like that, or was it just, does it seem more like that than it actually is?
Part of it is glamorous. When I first started out, I was working on a local paper, and that probably wasn't so glamorous because we used to have to do things like go to council meetings and report from council meetings,
Oh, yeah.
and lots of kind of local events and things like that. I used to do court reporting, so you used to have to go and sit in court and take notes, because also they wouldn't let you record anything, so you had to do shorthand. So you'd be sitting there writing your notes in your notepad. So that side of it was a really good training ground, and that was when I'd sort of first come out of university, and I was, doing all this real like grassroots kind of journalism, which was great, but yeah, absolutely not glamorous, and having to do weekends and evenings and things like that. But I was quite lucky. I had a few jobs when I was doing shifts, and one of my staff jobs was actually on a celebrity magazine. And I had a period of time when I was writing a showbiz column, and I had a column with two other girls, and we used to go to all the parties and premieres and report back from them. So we used to do like the red carpet stuff, and we used to get to interview celebrities. So that part was quite fun and quite glamorous. But even with that, to be honest, it's fun to a degree, and then you get to the point where you're sort of having to go out, so many times in a week, and it's kind of, it can take over a bit. So I think it's one of those things. I'm so glad that I did it, and it was, absolutely really great fun. But I couldn't do it now. I wouldn't have the stamina to sort of go out and do that kind of stuff now.
No, that's it. Well, Dina and I were just talking before, and Dina's got an. Did you say? Is it? Oh, we've lost her. Hang on. Hopefully, she'll be back in a second. We were just talking before, and Dina's got a nearly 3-year-old, and she's pregnant with her second child. So I can kind of understand why she might think that. Let's just move that out of the way. Look, you can see all my washing in the background. Couldn't see it before. Now it's there. Yay. Okay. Hang on a second. It's fine. Technical hitch. It's all good. It's all good. Let's see. Oh,
I'm back again. It just completely disappeared.
Don't worry, it's fine. I filled for you. Don't worry. I was just saying. Did you say? Have you got a little girl who's nearly 3? A little boy?
Yeah. She's 3 next month.
Yeah. And you're pregnant with your second child, so I can completely understand why probably the life on the celebrity circuit wouldn't be suitable now, and I guess doing all the journalism, because I suppose it is unsociable hours and stuff like that, isn't it? So, or was it because of her, or why did you set the business up?
It was actually when I was freelancing, it just became, I think, the way that newspapers were going, and everything's kind of moving online these days, and so it just became, it was quite difficult actually. I think just as a freelancer in any industry, it's difficult to make a full-time living and to kind of deal with the feast and famine cycle, which I think anyone else who's done any kind of freelance work, you'll probably recognise that. And it really got to the point where I just knew I had to diversify, which a lot of journalists do. So I actually took a course in copywriting, and I set up a communications business on the side. I was still doing the journalism, but I started doing copywriting jobs and PR jobs on the side, which I think is something that a lot of journalists do. They have a few income streams. And it just got to the point where I was sort of enjoying that side of it more. And the more people I was working with especially like with the PR side of things, I realised there was this real gap in the market of people that didn't necessarily want to outsource their PR to a PR agency, and they weren't quite ready either financially. They couldn't quite afford to do that, or they just didn't want to hand stuff over to someone else. They wanted to be able to do it themselves. And so I realised that so many people actually wanted to learn how to do PR themselves. So I started by creating a short online course teaching PR. And then I moved over into doing the PR coaching, and gradually I sort of stopped doing the journalism, and I focused on my business. And then it was actually, after I'd had my daughter, I had a bit of time off, and then I came back to work, and I just knew that was my focus. I really wanted to focus on the publicity coaching and doing the group programs. And so that was, sort of a couple of years ago now that my business kind of transitioned into what it is now. And yeah, I just haven't looked back. It's brilliant. You know, I feel so lucky to do something that I absolutely love doing. But I think it's something that people really need as well, you know, to actually learn how to do the PR themselves.
Oh, definitely, yeah, and it's a really good skill once you can learn that as well, isn't it? Because, like you say, not everyone's at the point where they can outsource that to somebody else. But
Yeah.
when you're just starting out, and PR can be a really good marketing tool. It's probably, you know, one of the most important ones to get your name out there and get recognised. So you've talked about the different elements of your business. So what do you love? What do you enjoy about your business the most?
I think just I get a real buzz from seeing my clients getting results. And when I was working as a journalist and I would see, you know, my name kind of published in the paper, I'd get a real buzz from that. And I get the same kind of feeling when I see my clients being featured somewhere. And yesterday, actually, one of my clients was featured in Forbes magazine.
Oh, wow.
And it was just so exciting, you know, and I love seeing things like that, and seeing people being able to share their stories, and I love seeing the results, the sort of impact that the publicity has on their businesses as well, because then they, you know, they'll say to me, you know, I've doubled my email list since getting that publicity, or I've you know, I had one lady who signed up 10 new clients in a week on the back of one article. And you
Wow.
see things like that, and it just, yeah, it's amazing. So, yeah, I just love seeing the results that they get.
Definitely, it can have such a big impact, can't it? And it's not, and with things like that, it doesn't go away. So when people are searching for things with the online stuff now, it pops up, doesn't it? You know, it's there, and people will find it ongoing. So it's really powerful to get that credibility as well, and you can share that on social media and all the rest of it. So it's super cool to be focusing on that. Okay, so obviously I can kind of tell a little bit what your plans are going to be for this year with you having a baby in July. But what are you planning to do? Are you taking time out, or what's kind of your plan for that, and what are your goals for this year?
So I've got a group program, my sort of VIP group publicity program that is launching at the end of this month, and it's going to start running in April. So that's my sort of immediate plan. And I'm really excited about that, because the people that have done it before have had really great results, and it's just something that covers everything that they need to know about PR. So they're learning absolutely everything, and they're getting kind of guidance from me, but they've got all their tools and resources so that they can go off at the end of the course and actually do it themselves, and you know, be able to keep repeating it. So that's kind of my immediate plan. But going forward from that, I plan to just, you know, carry on with my business as much as I can. So I've got a small number of retainer clients where I'm doing their PR for them. But other than that, I've got coaching clients that I work with. And I'm lucky enough to work with people. I've got clients in America, in Germany. So, you know, I love the fact that with the internet these days, you know, you can just connect with anyone. And so, yeah, the plan is to just continue doing the coaching, doing the group programs, and yeah, just to keep going with everything that I'm doing. And obviously, I'll see kind of how I get on when I've got a newborn to deal with as well. But I think with the way that a lot of things are set up, I'm trying to put more sort of automated systems into my business, so that I've got certain things that can run without me having to have a huge input. And so with like my group program, all the tutorials are pre-recorded, and you know, I go in there and I do a coaching call once a week, so it's not too time intensive for me. So the plan is to just keep going with those kinds of things, so that yeah, it's something where I can work with a lot of people at the same time, so that I can maximize my time.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really good. It's so powerful, like, to leverage the internet to be able to do those types of courses, create that residual income, and, like you say, reach people all over the world. It's like, wow. Like, to imagine, like 15 years ago, this couldn't be possible. It was just,
I know.
Like, I don't know how people ran businesses or did anything without the internet.
Yeah, no, we're so lucky to have the internet, and to be able to use Skype, and you know, to be able to connect with people so easily. Yeah, it just makes such a difference.
It is. The world's a really small place nowadays, isn't it? You know, we were just talking before the chat, and I was saying how I was asking Dina where she was, and she's in Hertfordshire. I was saying last week we had an expert from Bali, another one from America, from Merseyside, and it's just like the world's just such a small place. But it just creates such amazing opportunities for us running businesses now. So long-term plans then, what's your big goals? Have you got any kind of like bucket list goals that you want to put out there, what's your plan for the business in the future?
Just to keep growing the business really, and to be working with as many women as possible to help them share their message and get their stories out there. And I've got a vision board actually in my office, and I have got something on there about writing a book. So that is on the list, that one day I'd like to write a book. Don't know when that will happen. But yeah, just to keep going, because I feel like I'm in a place now where I'm doing something like, I really, really love, and I can see the tangible results that people are getting, and I can see the impact on their business. I can see people, like I said before, they get a piece of coverage, and then I've had things like there was one lady, she got 1,000 new Instagram followers in a week because of one piece of coverage. And you see things like that, and it's like, okay, these are tangible results, and I've got another lady who doubled her Facebook group in 48 hours from one blog post. She made $12,000 worth of sales from those people coming into the Facebook group. And it's like, I just want more people to be able to experience that. And I want people not to feel mystified by PR. And I don't want them to feel like it's out of their reach, because I think a lot of people do. And I think a lot of people feel like it's going to be too difficult, or that maybe it's not for them. And people say to me, well, when's the right time to start? Like, don't I have to wait until I have a certain number of followers? And the truth is, anyone can get publicity. You can go out there at any point in your business. You don't have to be really well established. You can still go out there and get publicity. And so, that's my aim, is to just grow my business to the point that I'm able to share with as many people as possible, how they can actually do that.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And I think as British people, we tend to be kind of like, oh, we don't want to shout about our achievements, do we? It's like, I just did that, but it's fine. I don't want to tell anybody. It's kind of like how we're growing. We just kind of, sometimes we're conditioned. Our mindset is to stay small. And actually, you can make a big song and dance about the smallest of things, can't you? We've got the Business Award coming up. I always say to, if you've been nominated, that's a big enough reason to do a press release. Just to get a nomination is awesome. It is what you make of it. And, shout about it, let people know. And, it's really, really powerful. And like you said as well, sharing stories, a lot of the time people don't realise that their story behind why they started their business is so powerful as well. And that by sharing that people will resonate with them, and people will care. That's a great way to get that out there as well, isn't it? So it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I think so many people as well, they worry that they don't have anything interesting to say, and I think that's one of the big things that comes up when I talk to people, and they're like, oh, well, what, I don't have a story, and I haven't got anything, what could I share? And when you stop to think about it, we've all got stuff to share. We've all got expertise to share. We've all got stories of our experiences of running our businesses. So I think that, PR works for all types of businesses, and you don't need to have a huge rags to riches story. There's so many other things that you can do to get publicity. So if anyone's thinking about it, go for it.
Yay! Awesome. We'll have to brainstorm some ideas in the group, won't we? What people could use their stories. If you're watching this and you're thinking that you've got a story, but you're a bit like, oh, is that going to be PR worthy? Then just pop in the comments and we can let you know. And I can pretty much guarantee it probably will be. But if you just need a bit of confidence in sharing that story, then please just let us help you with that. So finally, have you got any top tips that you could share with the biz mums around running your business? What's helped you get to where you are today?
I think one of the things that really helps me is there's the saying that one of my coaches used to say, which is done is better than perfect. And I think, especially as women, we often have a tendency to be real perfectionists and to not want to put things out there because, you're working on your website and you need to tweak it and wait till it's looking perfect, or you're working on a sales page or whatever it is. And I think that sometimes you just need to get it out there, just go for it and put it out there, and you can tweak things as you go. But if you hold back and wait for the perfect moment, it's not going to happen. So I think, for me, the best thing has just been actually taking action and going out there and getting started with something and not worrying about it being perfect. So I think that's my biggest piece of advice, is to just go for it. And whether that is going out there and working on your publicity, or with anything in your business, just get it out there, and then you can course correct and tweak it as you go.
Definitely, that's probably one of the best tips for biz mums, definitely, because we are a lot of, it's easy to get stuck with perfection, isn't it? And that, is it something paralysis, perfection paralysis?
Analysis paralysis, yeah.
Where you're just like, I can't, I'm just waiting for my website to be live, or I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting to set up my Twitter and my Facebook. And I think one of the members actually been to a business meeting yesterday, and she posted a comment, I think it was something along those lines, of saying like she was waiting to be ready to launch. She was waiting, and she actually just needs to just do it and not keep trying to get everything right and have everything set up, because you just do it as you go along, don't you? And no one knows that it's not quite as you want it to be. And a lot of the time, if you're creating things and what you think people will want, actually when you start your business, a lot of the time it changes anyway. People, you might start talking to who you think is your ideal audience, and it's not, it's somebody different. Or you might start creating a program that actually people don't want, they want something else. So you spend getting it ready, the less time you are actually working on what people want and finding out. So yeah, it's really powerful.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot. Like, your business just grows organically, doesn't it? And you kind of start off doing one thing and then it slightly changes. So
yeah, absolutely. So Emma's just asked a question. She's put, where would a small business send a press release to initially with no contacts in the press, media? She said she's finding it difficult to know where to start.
Okay, so the first thing I would do is think about who is your ideal client and where do they hang out, because that's going to help you to get really clear on the types of media that you want to approach. So if you haven't already kind of, you get these sort of ideal client exercises that you can do to help you get really clear on who your ideal client is. So I spend some time.
Academy, so you can download that. We've got one in the business.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, do that, because I think that people overlook that, and people often think, I know who my ideal client is, but you have to know them so well. You have to know, what are they worried about, what keeps them up at night, and what are they struggling with, what solution can you provide to them, but also what do they do in their spare time, where do they hang out, so what magazines are they reading, what blogs are they looking at, what papers do they like, and if you don't know that, ask your past clients or ask your followers. So that would be the first thing. If you're wondering which publication do I go to, think about who your ideal client is and where they're hanging out, because that's where you want to be.
Cool. And then is it just a case of just finding out the contacts there and then just contacting them? I'm sure it's normally pretty easy just to search on websites for the journalists and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, so just spend time getting to know the publication and reading through it. And then absolutely, normally you'll find something, if it's a magazine, they'll normally have a masthead where they'll have all the different writers listed. Or if it's, if you can look on a website, often they'll have a contact page where they'll have different people listed. So you can normally, just do a little bit of detective work and find out who the different journalists are and the different editors, and just get in touch with them directly. And I would definitely recommend contacting an individual journalist or editor, rather than just don't send something to a generic email address, because you never know who's going to be checking that and how often it's going to get checked. It's much better just to go to a journalist directly.
Cool. Okay, well, Dina's going to be back at 2:00 anyway, sharing her 5 steps to do your own PR. So I'm sure some of this will get covered in that anyway. And I know that Twitter's just a journalist as well, can't it? I think lots of journalists are on Twitter, so you can put people on there as well. I've when I was first starting BizMums, we got lots of press through Twitter and following journalists, and they would put out that they're looking for this, people to help them with this, whatever. So if you follow people on Twitter as well, really really good too. Awesome.
Definitely.
So yeah, so like I said, Dina will be back. So you've got a double dose of Dina today. So she's going to be back at 2 o'clock with her 5 steps to do your own PR. So if you can tune back in, but like I say, like this, it will be recorded as well and posted straight in the group afterwards, so you can catch up. But if you've got any more questions, please pop them in the comments, and we will do our best to help you. And yeah, Dina, will see you later. So have a great day, and I will see you back again in the morning. Bye-bye.
Bye.